what's up everybody? Welcome to another episode of B is for Build. In today's episode, that boat behind me gets new engines. Stay tuned. Alright guys, well I'm right next to a crane, and then we got the Raptor right here with boat engines right here. Boat's right back there. I haven't seen the boat in a year. I'm dying to go check it out. But before we do that, let's rewind a little bit, bring you back to the shop, and show you what we've done with those engines. So we're back here in Oscar's side of the shop, what we're calling like the boat engine R&D department. So in our last episode, Oscar had built all of this stuff out and fired up that engine for you guys. Then we came over and he built all of this out over the last, say, month and a half. We built all of this out, but then we were able to do a lot more thorough testing and R&D to get everything fully dialed in. And that actually took quite a while. There's a lot of troubleshooting, a lot of figuring out of how we wanted to run stuff so that these were very, very reliable. And now we've got them to that point, and we want to show you this engine firing up. So then you will have seen both of them work. I mean, you could just take my word for it, but there's no fun in that. Let's fire it up. 750 horsepower of gasoline burning LS. Okay, so I'm gonna start the water that goes through the exhaust system and out. So you have water cooled exhaust. The exhaust is going out our bay door there into the parking lot. Fuel pump's on. Our starter, and I will work the throttle. Stuttery there on the start, we'll tune that in. Yuna, put the transmission in gear. There's our trans going, forward and backwards.
The engine barely even notices it.
Oh yeah. So that is engine number 2 running well. All right, let's go ahead and shut her down. In a very fitting way, today's episode is sponsored by Metal Supermarkets, the convenient store for metal. These boat engines behind me have a lot of different parts, and we had to build structures, frames, brackets for every single part of that, not to mention a complete engine mount to put it in the boat in the right way, which we're gonna do in a couple minutes. All of the metal and all the supplies to be able to do that were sourced from Metal Supermarkets. It's where we go to get our metal. You can get any metal, any size, cut and ready fast, and there is no minimum order quantity. So if you just need one, say 1 foot piece of bar, you can go get that. You don't have to order 20 feet of it. Their staff there is incredible. The level of customer service is top notch. It's one of the best companies I ever work with, and they're very, very knowledgeable. They can help guide you through getting what you need. They can help you source hard to find metals, and the speed of service, how fast they can get your order ready, is pretty phenomenal. It's very, very fast. And they have a huge variety of different shapes and types and grades of metal, and if they don't have it, they can help you source really hard to find metals too. And with over 100 locations in North America alone, or you can order online, Metal Supermarkets is the place for you guys. This is a resource that you should keep in your mind. Write it down in your notepad when you think, I need some metal, I need a piece of whatever, aluminum. Think Metal Supermarkets. So visit metalsupermarkets.com to buy online or to find a store near you. The link is right here on the screen. It's also at the top of the description. metalsupermarkets.com. Huge thanks to them for sponsoring this episode. Let's get down to it. All right, we're actually already running late, which is very BS for Build of us to do. We've got to get both of these engines on the trailer, get them strapped down, and then we got to head out to Astoria. We have a crane appointment to crane them into the boat. All right, and that brings us to where we are today, at the boat yard here. Let's check out our boat. We haven't seen it in a year. It's been weathered. Okay, well overall it looks pretty good. It needs a fresh cleanup, but it's not looking too bad. Oscar said it's full of water. Oh yeah, we're not supposed to step on the middle of that.
No, don't step on that.
All right, well, we got a little bit of water in here. Luckily, it's clean water. It's just rainwater, and it's got a little bit of algae too. So we're gonna hit the bilge pumps. We can pump this outboard since it's all nice and clean. There's no oil or any contaminants in it. And then, unfortunately, we're not gonna have time to clean up the whole bottom. We're gonna have to overall, but we've got our crane time scheduled for right now. So engine's kind of got to start moving, start flying through the air quickly. We're gonna find the switch for the bilge pump and hit it. All right, we got our pump sucking. And we've got the little Harbor Freight ratchet that could, at the end of a, what is that, like 4.5 foot long pry bar, cheater bar, and it's actually working. We broke the first socket that had been aged like a fine wine, but the second one is holding up. Way to go, Harbor Freight. The new design is even stronger than the previous. So we thought the Harbor Freight thing was getting it. We broke another Harbor Freight socket. Harbor Freight, we're sorry. And then I went down to the store and bought a 1/2 inch pry bar and we took that thing out in quick time. So that nut's really on there. I dare to say more on there than any nut we've ever encountered. So I'm gonna go try and buy a bigger version of everything. Cross your fingers. If it's not clear what's going on, so that's an old motor mount that we just basically took off of the motor rather than taking it off of the mount. We can't put the new engine on with that still being there. That's why we have to get it off. All right, I'm gonna be really impressed if this thing doesn't do the trick. Now, we do have to reduce down to 1/2 inch, which might fail us, but I could always run back in the store and buy the 3/4 inch socket. That's such a big ass breaker bar. All right, Kyle, let's get this thing in use. We don't need the cheater bar anymore because the breaker bar is so big. It's like 418 now, and yeah, they quit at 5, so here we go. Say a little prayer. Once we get the engines flying, it should go quickly. All right, got most of the water out of there. We finally got that nut off of there. That was the most tight thing we've ever experienced. All right, and we've got the first engine rigged up. Goes into outer space, crane goes down to parking lot. So we're going from Raptor trailer to here. Well, now we can see the parts that might be hitting the bottom of the boat. So that oil, I don't want to jinx anything. The oil pan and the trans got to clear. Luckily, there's no spines or anything there. All right, got a nice light windy day. Well, Oscar, you gone done it.
Got them to fit.
You built 2 epic engine stands, engine mounts, whatever we're gonna call them, that hold these engines, got them in the boat in the right spot. Now let's see if we're gonna run into any problems. First, let's check oil filter clearance. Are we gonna be able to change the oil filter? Let me get down there with you. So for those of you that don't know, when you're on boats, a lot of times you pump the oil out, actually through the dipstick feeder, and then, but you do gotta change your filter. Oh, look at all that room we got. We've got like 9-10 inches under the filter. We were so worried about that. Yeah. Can you see, I don't know if you guys can see that. That barcode thingy right there, that's a filter. And then the ground is way down underneath it, or the bottom of the boat. So there's plenty of room on that one. Let's double check that it's the same over here. Hard to see, guys, but yes, plenty of room over here too. What else do you do to do maintenance on an engine?
Change the coolant.
That's easy. That's just right there.
Change the fuel filters.
With our luck, the coolant, you know, comes out all the time on its own.
Fuel filters, which we can put anywhere.
Yeah, fuel filters are going to be in line. So this is the fuel cell. It's this tank all the way over to this tank. It's like 300 gallons. Runs off 10 AN lines, and that's why we were doing 10 AN lines in the test situation. So all of our fuel lines are 10 AN. So one more kind of crazy piece of engineering is the exhaust. So you have water inside your exhaust in a marine application, and that is what our exhaust tube looks like. It's the biggest exhaust tube I've ever seen in my life, and that is what goes to it. Oh, you can't reach. Go ahead and jump maybe over there. So a big thing that we were worried about is the exhaust can't flow downhill into the engine manifold. So you need the high point in the exhaust right there to be higher than that guy right there. And we just barely made it, I'm really happy to say. Yeah, that might be really hard to get in there without a screwdriver. We don't have to shove it in there, but they'll get the idea. So what happens is our exhaust tubes, they come out of here, and they're gonna run basically just a little, slightly bit downhill to get to that fitting right there and that fitting right there. And then it goes out the back of the boat. It actually goes through another muffling system and water muffling system. But the good thing is it's all downhill from the neck of the exhaust manifold, because if it was uphill, what would happen is when you shut the engine off and the exhaust stopped flowing, the water would flow backwards and into your engine, which would be catastrophic. That was planned to be like this, but honestly, there was really no telling how it would really end up, so I'm really happy that it ended up working properly. And one other thing we don't have on here, but I just want to give the commenters something to comment about. Here's a part of this puzzle that they're gonna hate. Let's talk about our fresh water system. So we had put a belt-driven fresh water pump, raw water pump on the front of these engines. And that thing broke in what, 10 minutes?
It was broken to begin with.
It absolutely, yeah, it absolutely sucked. It never worked. So we switched to a system that is using an electric, very powerful electric water pump to pump the raw water into the cooling system and out through the exhaust. So right here is the valve. This whole level right here, like everything that you see right here, is all underwater when the boat's on the water, right? It's to about Oscar's knee level, is well, a little bit lower than his knee level, is where the water line is on this boat. So maybe that knee, yeah. Anyways, so everything's underwater, so there's back pressure coming from this valve right here, which is shut right now, but anyways, it comes up and it goes through this big filter right here, and now it's gonna go, we're gonna neck down a little bit and go to a 1.25" hose that's gonna run to an electric pump that's gonna mount, there's one for each motor, it's gonna mount around there, and it's gonna electrically pump all the raw water through the motors. Well, wait, I misspoke. It doesn't go through the motors, it goes through the heat exchangers. No raw water goes into a marine engine, it just goes through the heat exchangers to cool that down. There's antifreeze, marine antifreeze in both of these right now that goes through the motors. That's what you saw running through the motor earlier today to cool it down. So the raw water just goes through the heat exchanger and then spits itself back out through the exhaust. So I've read on a lot of marine forums, it's somewhat controversial to run an electric motor, but lots of people have been doing it for a long time and gotten away with it. I think we're gonna get away with it.
We have nice big Holly screens that tell us when the engine's getting hot.
Yeah, we do have very good dashboards that'll let us know when the engine is, if the engine gets mad for any reason. We're gonna have a lot more data than we had with those like 12 gauges over there, where 6 of them didn't work.
I was gonna say, how many of them actually worked?
Dude, the one was just like, no oil pressure, bang, engine blew up.
I mean, at that point, it wasn't lying.
Yeah, no, it did not lie at the very last half of a second. Just the needle was like, boop, bang. Yes, Oscar just mentioned that we're gonna upgrade our seals to dripless shaft seals. We bought the things. Not exactly sure how to do it. I don't know if it unbolts from that 3-bolt flange or the 2-bolt flange, but something shall be unbolted. Oh yeah, well, so this is where all the packing is. It's between this and this. So we could either adapt it onto here probably, or, oh, this doesn't come off the boat. This is fiberglassed in. I forgot that. So this 3-bolt is fiberglassed in, so we have to build off the 2-bolt, I think.
So what I was thinking is we build a gasket for the back of this,
Yeah.
push it up against this side, take this piece, turn it around, and then we'll put the seal onto this guy.
Yeah, but the seal's kind of long. I don't know if we're gonna have room.
We'll lose some of that, and we can also cut it down. Cut some of it down, I hope.
Can cut my new $300 dripless shaft seal down?
No, this guy.
Oh. Let's take a measurement. We can verify when we get back to the shop.
Yeah, we don't want to mess with this.
We can let everybody know if we're totally screwed or not. Let's take some pictures. We'll take a measurement. All right, closing up the hatches. Battening down the hatches. We got our measurement. We got our picture. Let's get back to the shop. Back at the shop, don't mind our very, very dirty carpet, but this is a dripless shaft seal, and that back part seals onto what you saw there on the boat and does not move. And this whole part doesn't move, and then that part does move, I believe. I haven't read the full instructions, but as long as we can slip that joint over there, that's actually a pretty compact little bit right there. It's a little over 6 inches, so we actually have plenty of room, which is great. Dripless shaft seals. Ugh. That's not gonna work. So we got the engines in the boat. That is fantastic. Now I got a little bit of bad news. I got to break it to you boat diehard fans out there. Building the harness and the whole standalone and the cooling system for the second engine actually took longer than it did for the first. And then there was a lot of R&D that went into making sure that that cooling system is rock solid, because we ran through a lot of failures, to be honest with you. So that took months. Oscar was working in the background for months on that stuff. And we had expected to be done, say, in 1 month, and then have a full month to work on the boat stuff, and then we could jump into SEMA builds. And instead, that month got eaten up by R&D, basically. So getting the engines in the boat is a huge first step, and we're very close, but given that the weather's gonna be changing really soon here and everything like that, I did not wanna rush the boat stuff, knowing that we had SEMA deadlines and cars to build just looming over us. I want to take my time with that boat. I want to order all the specific parts that I really want, so I have a nice boat for years to come, rather than just throwing together whatever we can get. Like things like I want to get a new bimini made, and that takes a little bit of time. And so there's some things like that. So thank you to all you guys that watch the boat content and love the boat content. It's not going anywhere. Obviously, we're very invested in it, and we will bring it back better than it was in the first place. I promise you that. But we have 30 days before our vehicles that are going to SEMA have to be on the truck. We're bringing 3 vehicles to SEMA. One of them is the R69 GTR, which will be in the Koenig Wheels booth. And there are 2 more You guys might be able to guess what they are, but they'll be unveiled in episode. Once those SEMA builds are done, I promise we're back on the boat until the boat is done and back home. Fun December on the coast of Oregon. What it really comes down to is the boat can get pushed back. Storage for the boat costs $1,000 a month, so it's gonna be basically $2,000 of extra storage fees, and then we're back on the boat. The car stuff, when you submit your car and you talk to your sponsors and you say, hey, I want to put my car in your booth at SEMA, what do you think? It's a very, very big process, and when they accept you, it's a really, really big responsibility, because you're showing up to show off their products for a convention, for a trade show that is very, very, very expensive for them to host. So I take the responsibility very seriously, and so we absolutely have to get started on these cars, because like I said, we have like 30 days. But with the boat, there's no big companies, there's no partners of ours that are gonna be hurt if we let it sit for 2 months. So but to you diehard boat viewers that are still watching at this point, I realize it does hurt you, so I want to apologize. I want to say sorry. We ran past our deadline, and I'm not great at setting deadlines, so that's my bad. Just like how we just finished the Supra. We always get to things and we always finish things. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, so I hope you hang in there with us, and thank you guys so much for watching. As soon as these SEMA cars are done, as soon as we were back from SEMA, we are back on the boat. Appreciate you guys very much. I appreciate you for tuning in, and I appreciate you for being patient. See you on the next one. Peace!